This is a message for those who believe in the magic of marriage, and especially for those who are having hard time to get that magic, that bliss out of it. And this is also a message for those who contribute the most, who give the biggest contribution toward the marriage, especially financially. I believe in marriage myself, so I know how it feels. People like you, like me, we need to understand that not everybody marry for love. Nothing wrong with that, but probably we already knew from movies, from news, and but we never believed that it can happen to us or to anybody we know. But not everybody marry for love. When we were created, where we built, we were given that concept of love like something that comes from deep inside and that resonate with the people we love, with our special one. But when some other people were created, they were created differently. They were taught that they need to get something out of their relationship, especially marriage. Like they not liking you, they're after something you can give to them, like assets, like status, like properties, estates, your job perspectives, the ability to pay their bills or to work for them in the house or whatever. So nothing wrong with that. I think it is gross, but nothing wrong with that as long they contribute somewhere else. So you give a job, they give education, you give business, they give work at home. You give money or assets, and they give a loving attitude to you. I mean, if it's balanced. So hopefully everything is balanced. But yeah, but still there is a problem if everything is balanced financially or I mean somehow materialistically. There's still something that is an issue. That magic is missing because they didn't marry you for love. And so they cannot give that spark. You give the spark, they don't give the spark back, so the ignition does not happen. And yeah, that's the problem. That's a problem for you because you are missing something and you think you don't deserve because I mean you got a good person. These people sometimes, most of the time, they look like a nice person, respectful. They respect you before marriage because they try to win you somehow. And so they look good, and then you think, I mean, they're good, so I mean, we're lucky that we have them, so why should I also even consider to get extra spark, extra magic from the extra, I mean, to have some magic in the first place in our marriage? Yeah, you deserve that because that's what you want. So they need something from you, you need something to go ahead. But and this is something that you're gonna miss. But usually I notice that when this imbalance of love happen, or love concept happen, there's something else going on. So they're after something that you give, so they're not fulfilling a vow, they're enforcing a contract. Marriage is a contract, and then you learn if you ever get into a divorce. It's a contract, and then it's something very materialistic. But when this happens, so they even either they will follow the contract, and if you don't give them enough, they will try to enforce this contract and make you work more and more, or give more money, or give more time or more attention to them. And this is a vicious cycle because it's it's gonna drain you. So in the beginning, it's gonna be actually good for you because you're working harder, you're growing, you're getting stronger. So in the beginning it looks good, but in the long run it's gonna drain you, it's gonna burn you out, it's gonna depress you, it's gonna gonna make you feel sad. So it's it's a little bit of a problem. And what happened? Because they're after a contract, two things can happen. Either they realize that's the most they can get, so they will leave you, they get your money, and they will leave you with your money, and no, this is bad. Or they will keep blaming you that you don't give enough money, and they will get into this stressful situation. You may want to consider to break this pattern, and you can do this probably by divorcing. Now, let's do a little disclaimer here. I'm not an attorney, so this is not a legal advice. I mean, if I were an attorney, I wouldn't give a legal advice on a YouTube video, but I mean, this is only informative. And also, I'm not giving clinical advice. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, so I'm not a mental health clinical professional. I am a certified life coach, so I can support you with some awareness and some decision that you can make, but I mean, I don't give clinical or legal advice, especially here on YouTube. So don't take this just as your awareness and your information. But yes, so, and also I went through some of this stuff, so I can show how it's going, how it goes. Going back to your stuff. Again, another thing that may happen in this kind of situation when, they didn't marry you for love. Nothing wrong with that. But what can happen that if they feel the contract is not good enough, they can belittle you. So maybe you are a great employee, you are a great business person, your shop goes great, and they will still complain that you don't give them enough attention, time, you don't get enough time off from your job, you take time to take their call, all this kind of stuff. If you're a good person and they say you're not good enough, this is emotional abuse. You may want to talk to your therapist about that. Although, some therapists, they may take months before to realize the situation. So at the beginning, when they see you, they can diagnose you with adjustment disorder or mild depression or just anxiety or stuff like that, because they're not diagnosing the other person in the relationship, and so they cannot see clinically right away there is the form of the abuse. So they can only work on you and really on specific stuff at the beginning. So maybe after a few months they can realize. But I'm telling you, look at this kind of stuff. Whoever belittled you is causing emotional abuse to you, so you should take your protection against this. And maybe we don't even realize that, because who the hell knew that there was such a thing like emotional abuse for some talking? We thought that, sometimes they say that it's okay to do some compromise in a marriage, or some argument can happen in a couple, but then we make up and it's okay. It's okay until I think it's gross. That's gross too. But some people, it's okay to a certain extent. So if you are belittled, put down, you are treated this way, talk this way, this is emotional abuse, this is verbal abuse. And if with this there is also cursing to each other or insulting to you, that's verbal abuse as well. This is all stuff that's abusive, it's psychological abuse, and need to be treated and need to be stopped and addressed. But I want to give you a recommendation. Don't take any action, external action, before educating yourself, because before reading something more about this few concepts, emotional abuse and verbal abuse, and some therapy, and educate. And don't tell that you're doing this to anybody, because they can, as your spouse may not have married you for love, other people also don't understand the love the way you mean it. So they can say, okay, this is give him or her another chance. I mean, you can survive with that. Yeah. Don't let other people minimize your situation. Trust your gut. And so to avoid that they minimize your, don't tell it. Just educate yourself. When you know, then you will know, and nobody can minimize you because you know already. You want to know more? I mean, you can contact me, or probably I'll post more video on this topic. Hopefully that will help you, and hopefully you just understand there is a mismatch of love language, and you can work on that. But after you do your education, you see, emotional abuse, or you see just, gifts that are not given, or a different approach to express love. We can discuss later. And also intimacy, that could be also a red flag that something is going wrong on the way they didn't marry you for love, because they give some intimacy when they want, that they hold it back, hold it back, this intermittent way of giving love, or requesting love and intimacy and sex, just to say it clearly. And yeah, this is also a form of emotional abuse, a form of control. So, and this, I'm sorry to say, this happen when you may be the breadwinner, you are a successful woman, or a great scientist in your job, and or loving man and father, and they try to get away with your money, your time, and your try to to make you feel bad. I'm sad if this is what happened to you. I hope that this can be solved, and this can be solved. Sometimes you may need to consider divorce as one of the opportunity, without being scared for that. I know that it's scary. We don't wish divorce to our worst enemy, but sometimes what we need to do, because we need to grow, we need to get our growth. And if this is ultimately what can happen, it's better that happens sooner than later, because the more you go, the more you grow up, the more time goes on, the more you're earning, the more the career you go on, you grow stronger, and you make your money, and they'll get more of the money that you're gonna give at the beginning. So they get the more of your 401k, the more of your assets, the more of anything, the more of years of alimony. So if you need to take an action, educate yourself first, but better sooner than later. And I want to give some experience. So for example, I know many people that I know, I see, they look happy to their standards. To my standards, I don't like really their situation. For example, especially the country where I come from, probably justified by the fact that employment is not that great over there. So many women, even educated women, they don't seek job, they don't seek to be employed, and they stay home. But even staying home, they want to live like queens. So they want their husband to to work, to bring money, and to take them to vacation, and to do grocery, and to drive them around. They don't drive, they don't take a driver license, and to buy their gift, and they cannot buy them gift because they don't have money, and they don't, and they barely work in the house, and probably they also have a housekeeper, or they demand that their mother-in-law clean the house, or some. So and they don't want only one child. They don't, they stay home, and they don't even care. They feel that I know. I have children as well, so I know that it's hard for mother to mother, but I did it. So don't sell me this BS, because it's great gift to have children, and I parent most of the time for my children too. So don't sell me this. But so these women don't are scared to give children to their spouse and so on. And so this is what happened. And also, I mean, another interesting story that really made me mad. I met one very smart girl. She is a scientist. So she moved from another country to the United States, and she, I mean, got a successful job. She claims she could, and I'm sure about that. She claims that she could even get a better job sometimes, probably she was denied. This is something that happens sometimes in employees when, I post some video about that career stuff too that can happen. But she was already successful with a good salary in their job, with a good company, good benefits and all. And she, bring her husband over in the United States. What happened? This husband didn't want to learn the language, didn't want to, I mean, he claims that he didn't find a job. He wasn't really looking for one, and he say it's because of the language. It's not true, because in this country, many states, I mean, you can find a job even if you don't speak English very well. Of course, if you speak English or Spanish, probably you have more opportunity, but still, I mean, you can make probably not a living, probably a living, but not not the biggest contribution if you don't know the language. But I mean, you can survive here without the language. And I know that many people really, with the basic education, they learned the language and they were happy to move here. So this guy didn't learn the language, he didn't work, and he demanded that her wife, the scientist, after 8-10 hours of research, all the mixing and stuff, and also risky chemicals handling, and all the stuff that scientists do, reports and research and paper and writing and focusing on stuff. He demanded that her wife also cooked, buy the groceries and give him money to drink. So this is was unacceptable. But this girl didn't realize, if not many years, when she caught here cheating on her. We need to get to that point when it's clear from the beginning what the situation here. So I don't blame, I mean, sometimes we don't see that because, I believe, so I didn't analyze that, but I mean, I'm pretty sure about this because we had a good conversation with her, and she felt guilty that she eradicated her husband from his family, from his country. But I mean, this is not justification not to work. This is not justification for demand stuff for their wife. I mean, he could have happily go back home, get some allowances, and then because we believe in the magic of marriage, so we don't want to break it. But probably we need to realize that not everybody marry for love.